The Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question goes to the Prime Minister. I refer to the Treasurer's claim in his previous answer that he has a fiscal rule to control spending, which is to bank most of the upward revision in revenue. However, according to his own pre-election budget, the upward revision in revenue was $8 billion. He plans to blow the lot, plus another $26 billion. Will the Prime Minister insist his Treasurer introduces quantifiable fiscal rules to stop his spending spree?
Call to the...
I will take the opportunity to say that I'll insist that this Treasurer continue to do the great work that he has done over the last 4 years and not follow the rabbits opposite down that hole, which they dug year after year after year when they were elected with a policy in 2013 of producing a budget surplus first year and every year thereafter. And they came in, they slashed education, they slashed health, and they managed to produce zero budget surpluses. And then they went to the recent election. It is some achievement, Mr Speaker, to go to an election saying we are going to have higher taxes for 14 million Australians and we're going to have higher deficits as well over 2 years.
The Deputy Leader on a point of order.
On relevance, Mr Speaker, I asked the Prime Minister a very clear question about whether or not he will insist his Treasurer, given the facts I provided, that he in fact blew the revision, whether or not he will insist that his Treasurer introduces fiscal rules.
All right. I just ask you to resume your seat. The Prime Minister is insisting the Treasurer, but I'll just draw him back to the question to make sure he's being directly relevant to the answer.
It was very relevant, saying the position that I support and what I will instruct the Treasurer to do is to keep doing the fantastic job that he's doing. That is what I will do. And what I won't do is be put off by the sternness that we used to see when the member opposite stood up supporting his nuclear power plan. That would blow a hole in the budget worth hundreds of billions of dollars. I ask the Treasurer to add to the answer.
Treasurer has the call.
Thanks, Speaker. I'll give you three numbers, Mr Speaker. Under this government, we've banked about 70% of upward revision to revenue. It was about 40%. Under Howard and Costello, it was about 30%. What that tells the Shadow Treasurer is that we bank most of the upward revisions to revenue and they spend most of it. And that's why their fiscal rules in office weren't worth the paper that they were written on, Mr Speaker, because they failed every single test that they set for themselves. They said they'd deliver surpluses. They went none for nine, complete donuts, Mr Speaker, when it comes to surpluses. We delivered surpluses in our first 2 years in office, Mr Speaker. And so what matters here is the fiscal rules and also the outcomes, and we've been able to make some good progress cleaning up the mess that was left to us by those opposite, when they left us $1 trillion in Liberal debt, when they left us huge deficits as far as the eye could see. And we turned 2 of those Liberal deficits into 2 substantial Labor surpluses, Mr Speaker. And so we will stack up our record on responsible economic management against those opposite any day, Mr Speaker, and I hope that these questions continue. Because when I was told, Mr Speaker, that the member for Fairfax gave a speech about Charlie and the chocolate factory, I confess that the word wonka was almost the word that came to mind.
In the bustling halls of Australia's Parliament, where political justs echo like thunderclaps, a fiery exchange unfolded during question time. The Deputy Leader of the Opposition, sharp as a tack, rose to challenge the Prime Minister on fiscal discipline. He spotlighted the Treasurer's boastful fiscal rule of banking most revenue upgrades, but fired back with damning figures from the pre-election budget, an $8 billion revenue windfall not just spent, but overshot by another $26 billion in wild expenditures. Will you rein in your Treasurer, he demanded, and enforce real, quantifiable rules to halt this spending frenzy? The Prime Minister, unflinching and with a wry grin, deflected like a seasoned boxer. He praised his Treasurer's stellar 4-year track record, refusing to chase the opposition down their rabbit hole of failed promises. Remember 2013? They vowed surpluses every year, yet delivered none, slashing health and education while digging deeper deficits. At the last election, they even pitched higher taxes for 14 million Aussies alongside ballooning shortfalls. A point of order interrupted, the Deputy Leader insisting on relevance, stick to the fiscal rules question. The Speaker nudged the PM back on track, but he doubled down, vowing to back his Treasurer's fantastic job over the opposition's hypocrisy. He mocked their nuclear power dreams, a budget-busting black hole worth hundreds of billions. Then, handing the mic to the Treasurer himself, the real fireworks began. With a confident swagger, the Treasurer rattled off stats like a scorecard. Under Labour, they've banked 70% of revenue upgrades, the Coalition? A measly 40%. Even Howard and Costello only hit 30%. We bank most, they spend most, he quipped, torching the opposition's paper-thin rules that crumbled in office, 0 surpluses in 9 attempts, a total donut. Labour flipped the script, turning Liberal deficits into 2 hefty surpluses, mopping up a $1 trillion debt mess left behind. We'll stack our responsible management against yours any day, he declared, rapping with a cheeky jab at the opposition's recent speech on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, hinting that Wonka wasn't far from wanker in describing their fiscal fantasies. This clash wasn't just numbers, it was a vivid showdown of economic visions, where Labour touted prudent progress amid inherited chaos, while the opposition cried foul on unchecked splurges. In essence, the video captures the raw pulse of democracy, accusations of fiscal folly met with boasts of surplus success, all laced with witty barbs that expose the eternal tug-of-war over Australia's purse strings.